Welcome to another episode of WTF Cinema.
Hi everybody, welcome back to WTF Cinema. Today's movie is another 80s gem. This is My Stepmother is an Alien. We open, as all movies should open, with Jon Lovitz entering a government research facility. Yeah, I know it's stupid, but you try coming up with an original way to open up each and every one of these movies. It turns out that Jon Lovitz's brother, Dan Aykroyd, is a physicist, and he's attempting to find a way to shoot a radar beam into deep space to search for life. He's somehow going to use a thunderstorm to amplify this effect. Meanwhile, his boss just thinks he's a complete crackpot. So, through a crazy series of events that we spend most of the movie trying to unravel, Dan Aykroyd is able to shoot a beam into a far-off, distant galaxy, something he said could not happen unless the beam were to travel faster than light. I'm not a physicist. Heck, I'm not even a scientist of any kind. But I'm pretty sure you can't travel faster than light. Here's the thing, though. I don't expect writers and directors to necessarily be experts on the subject they're making a movie about. I mean, it's different skill sets. Telling a good story and knowing an entire scientific field. You don't need to be good at both. But you know what you can do? You can call up an expert. Because here's the thing. As a critic, I don't know enough about science to tear this apart. So I called up an expert. David, are you there?
Hi, my name is David McNeil. I have a master's degree in physics from the University of North Texas.
Alright, David, so you've watched this entire movie. What's your opinion on this whole radar beam shooting sequence?
Let's start off with one thing that got a little bit right. It's stated that Celeste's home planet is 92 light years away and 2 solar systems over. While no real astronomer would ever use the 2 solar system over phrase, 92 light years would be a reasonable distance to fit that description. However, when they show how Steve's signal propagates, it ends up in the clouds of Magellan. First of all, the image shown looks like a poor quality picture of IC 2177, better known as the Seagull Nebula, which happens to be 3,650 light years away. However, if we believe the caption on the monitor and say that the signal ended up in the Lesser Magellanic Cloud, it's 200,000 light years away. Both of these are immensely further than the distance of Celeste's home. However, the next question is, how does he even know where the signal went? In order to get some kind of echo telling him where his signal arrived, he'd have to wait 200,000 years, if we assume it actually went to the Lesser Magellanic Cloud. Now, they kind of imply that the signal was somehow sent faster than light, but electromagnetic waves, which include the radio waves he's using, only go at one speed, light speed. And on top of that, they pretty much go straight. On the scale they're looking at, only traveling extraordinarily close to an extremely dense object, such as a black hole, can bend light. And it certainly doesn't bounce off of one star into another as illustrated.
So basically, the event that triggers the entire film is completely impossible. And yet I'm still going to have to sit here for 2 hours. So Dan Aykroyd's boss, Dr. Buttlong, yeah, that's his name, fires Dan for blowing up equipment and generally being a nuisance. Cut to Dan Aykroyd's daughter, played by baby Allison Hannigan.
Why can't I dunk? Why can't I dunk? Is that asking so much?
Because you're a little girl who's not 6 feet tall? We are briefly informed that baby Allison Hannigan's mother died a couple of years before the movie starts of the always famous, non-specific fatal film illness. And then we never really deal with the dead mother ever again. Now I know this is going to be a little bit of a shock, considering the title of the movie. But we find out that Kim Basinger is actually an alien in disguise on her way to Earth to meet Dan Aykroyd. We're also informed that she is going to be the most beautiful woman on the entire planet. Alright, I'll grant you this. Kim Basinger is attractive. I'm not going to argue that point. You argue it at home if you feel like it. The most attractive woman on the planet's a hell of a statement to make, though. Because in order for that to be communicated throughout the film, you would need people to have ridiculous reactions to her. I mean, she needs to walk down the street, old men have heart attacks, women become lesbians, and people crash cars. None of that happens. So I don't know why we made the point of being superlative here. She's going to be the most beautiful. We couldn't have just said she's going to be an attractive woman. You're going to be very attractive for your gender. I just think if you put maybe a little bit more thought into this, you could avoid some of the bad writing. So, while dressed up as Guinan, our alien Celeste tracks down Dan Aykroyd at a party his daughter forced him to attend. Welcome to most of the comedy in this movie. It pretty much consists of her not fully understanding how Earth works and making crazy, wild statements and movements. Truly, groundbreaking comedy of the kind we've never seen before.
Okay, well, we're all set.
Finland is here?
Finland? No, this is the valley. Finland is the capital of Norway.
Freezing. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish, 'cause I eat me spinach. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Toot toot. Popeye. This bud's for you.
Oh man, this movie is almost as unfunny as Two Broke Girls. Won over by her acting like a completely insane person, Dan Aykroyd starts talking to Celeste, who we find out is only interested in him because of the radar transmission he sent. Eager to change out of her Guinan costume, she also is able to pull out various outfits from her TARDIS handbag, or her handbag of infinite holding, whichever reference you prefer.
With instructions to tour this facility, so
Can I see some ID?
Here.
See, Department of Defense.
And nobody finds this unusual? I mean, throughout the entire movie she acts like this. She does all of these things constantly, and people just, oh, that's charming. She's unusual. No, she's not unusual. Either she's an alien or an escaped mental patient. These are your only two options. People don't actually respond this way to this kind of insane, over-the-top behavior. She would get dragged away by men in coats with butterfly nets. This is not how people deal with this. You can't just get away with some of the stuff she does in this movie, and people just go, how charming. Celeste tries to figure out what caused the beam to penetrate her planet, but keeps drawing a blank. She is interrupted in her search by Dr. Buttlong, so she freaks out and telekinetically shoots him out the window and through the roof of a car. 2 points here. One, why didn't she stick with the DARPA story, the story that got her in the door, where she had the fake ID and she was able to say she was with DARPA? And two, how is he not hurt? I mean, I get it, a telekinetic field, he was, moved around, and he went through the roof of the car with enough force to go through the roof of the car. You can't tell me that doesn't cause injuries. A little bit later, when Dan Aykroyd goes to kiss her, she freaks out. She doesn't know what kissing is. Luckily, the handbag is there to help her with some illustrations to show her how it's done. And this joke goes on for about 4 minutes. And it's never funny. I mean, half the stuff we're looking at is obviously not kissing. I mean, slapping the guy in the face, dancing around like ducks. He goes along with all of it because it's cute and charming. We're talking about an advanced alien civilization able to travel faster than light. They get here. They are able to research, learn about our planet. Maybe they didn't know what kissing is, fine. But kissing is one of those things that you can pick up fairly quickly. Especially if you let the other person start it. You just kind of go with the flow. So you've got hyper-intelligent aliens capable of building spaceships, traveling faster than the speed of light, over 92 light years to our galaxy. And they can't figure out kissing. That makes about as much sense as aliens who can't figure out how to turn doorknobs. After consulting with the alien handbag, it's decided that she cannot get Dan Aykroyd to focus on the science that she needs him to focus on, which is mainly shooting that beam back at her planet again, because of all the sexual tension. So she decides to start having sex with him. This is a method of interrogation that has never been tried on me, by the way, and I have a feeling it would have a high degree of success. Just saying. Okay, where the hell is that breeze coming from?
Hey, did you see that?
Why are there literal fireworks? So much of this movie is just Celeste being wacky and trying to adapt to Earth life. I mean, I get that you need some of it in a movie like this, but it's almost a third of the entire movie is just Celeste and her wacky hijinks. And by wacky hijinks, I mean that would get her put in jail. I just can't... God! Not that Celeste is the only unrealistic character in this movie. Look at how baby Allison Hannigan reacts upon learning that her father got laid last night.
You stayed here?
Just overnight.
But Dad! That's fabulous!
Who has that kind of reaction to their parents boning? Dan Aykroyd then suddenly proposes marriage. Again, totally believable. They've known each other for 12 hours now. And Celeste agrees, because again, we've got to clear his mind so he can work on the science, and apparently sexing him up just wasn't doing it. Marriage will sort it out, though. That afternoon, Celeste has a meeting with holographic representations of the leaders of her home planet, and we finally get the explanation of what's going on. See, apparently when the radar beam hit their planet, it actually affected the planet's gravity and increased it 3-fold. That sounds unlikely to me. David?
Ultimately, the driving point of Celeste's people is that this signal that Steve sent is somehow going to destroy them all, and they mention that their gravity is increasing. At worst, the signal could hit a single spot on their planet and fry some electronics, and then that'd be it. It'd be done. The wave would be gone and unable to do any further damage. But the odds of that are even extraordinarily slim, because it's such a big universe out there. And the whole affecting their gravity, electromagnetic waves can't do that. It's just not possible. There's no physical connection between an electromagnetic wave and a gravity wave. So that's all out too.
So again, the primary driving point behind this movie is impossible. Good. Good. Wow, that wedding was thrown together really fast. I mean, I'd make a joke that, you know, this is probably the same day, except I don't have to. They say it. This is literally a couple hours after he proposes. I couldn't get that many people to show up to my house on short notice if I offered free hookers and blow. Now, right before the wedding actually commences, baby Allison Hannigan realizes that her soon-to-be stepmother is an alien. You know, what little plot there is to this movie is pretty much all given away by the title. If you're not going to contain a whole lot of plot in your movie, it's probably best if you don't give away the entire thing in the title of the film. Give the audience something to look forward to. Perhaps even, maybe, possibly something to enjoy.
Thank you for watching WTF Cinema. Until next time, what the f***, man?